Airbnb, the Uber of hotels. This company is creating extraordinary social good and extraordinary economic and educational empowerment, all within the context of a for-profit model. Take a look, I just booked a trip to Medellin, Colombia, and guess who I trusted first? That's right, I trusted my stay with Airbnb. Airbnb made people realize that an extra room in their house or apartment can be an extra source of income. Not only that, but a great way for travelers to connect. You can view ratings just like you see here. Airbnb spent 5 months interviewing their first employee before they hired someone in the very first year, and they only hired 2 people that year. This is a true growth story and opportunity because Airbnb is going public on December 10th or maybe even December 9th. The company was founded in 2008 by Brian Chesky, Nathan B, and Joe G. Airbnb is a shortened version of its original name, AIRBnB.com, and in 2015 the company had $25 million worth of bookings, which is actually a lot for a startup, but by 2019 they had $187 million worth of bookings. That's a 7.5 times bookings in just 4 years. And for listings, well, in 2012 it was a measly 120,000 listings, which by the way is bigger than some small towns. Not bad for a company that owns no property and no real estate. It's simply a platform that takes a cut of the commission for being a good middleman. Oh, and if you're wondering how many listings in 2019 that they had, it was about 7 million, which is almost the size of New York City. Yeah, you're gonna wanna watch this video if you wanna get stupid rich. And also, dare I say, my favorite IPO stock of 2020, we're gonna have to talk about this one. To be honest with you guys, I do think I like Airbnb more than I like Palantir stock. Maybe because Airbnb has a network effect like a true tech giant has. Airbnb is like Facebook in that they have more users joining the platform, and the more users that join the platform, they do some referring, they tell their friends, and that actually creates an effect where people join and more people join because more people joined. If that makes sense, it's like compound interest. Airbnb is now known worldwide. At the end of this video, I'll show you guys some rare gems on Airbnb and some expensive houses that are not only fascinating, but also raking in some very massive revenue and booking fees for Airbnb.com. Anyways, I'm gonna jump in to do a deep dive analysis here, plus tell you guys what I'm going to be doing with this stock on the first day of the IPO. But first, don't forget to get 4 free stocks from Webull in the link below. They hook you up with a ridiculous 4 free stocks for just depositing $100, so check it out. All right, Airbnb could be one of the hottest IPO offerings of the whole year. Airbnb has already been disrupting the hotel and short-term property rental markets for years now, and investors will soon have a chance to build a position in a technology business that is just growing rapidly. The reason it's growing so fast is because the business model is truly disrupting the hotel industry. It makes sense for both the owner and the customer. I'll start with the owner side of things, okay guys? Most of the owners can freely rent a room or their whole house whenever they like to. And if they want to make some cash on the side and they want to make some money to go out and have fun with that money, then all they have to do is click a few buttons and put their property or their room on Airbnb. And if they don't, they don't. And if they want to rent out the room for say Saturday night and they want to have a day or two that they want to make some money, then they do. And if they don't want to rent the room, they can just turn off the days that they have their rooms available for and they don't rent out the room. So they're free to choose when they want to make money and utilize their property. Airbnb wanted people to rent out their spare rooms, but check this out guys. Some people are turning it into a whole business. People are buying properties, and rather than renting them out like a traditional landlord, they're becoming Airbnb hosts. It makes sense for them because take a look at this. I live in Philadelphia. Here's an image of a Philadelphia Airbnb. You can see that the total price here is $877. The owner gets $694 for 7 nights. But wait, I bet you guys didn't know this, but the cleaning fee goes straight to the owner's pocket as well. So it's really $769 for a week's stay. If 3 out of 4 weeks are booked year round on a good property, that's about $2,300 per month. And I took a look at the average rent in Philadelphia, and for a 2-bedroom, it's about $1,300, but let's call it a cool $1,500 in rent just to be conservative. So this owner is more than clearing the typical monthly rent payment, or if he's renting and then re-putting the property on Airbnb to make a split difference. Some people actually do that. They go ahead, they rent a property, they ask their landlords, hey, would you mind if I put this on Airbnb? Landlord says, I don't care. So that person rents, and then he puts it on Airbnb. That tenant puts it on Airbnb trying to make a profit. People actually do that. Anyways, back to the point. So you can collect $2,300 and your rent is about $1,500. So you're making that cool $800 per month in profit. Now let's talk about the people that actually rent out Airbnbs. Someone in town for a week traveling would love to have a more homey experience. And honestly, Airbnb oftentimes makes more sense and it costs less money to actually rent out than a traditional hotel. As someone who used Airbnb for years for my trips to Europe and now to Colombia, the platform makes a lot of sense for both the person having the property and the person looking to rent the property. And of course, for Airbnb, which makes that good money. The company will price its stock between $56 per share and $60 per share, valuing the company at around $42 billion at the upper range, and the stock will list on NASDAQ under the ticker ABNB. Airbnb stock is set to list on Thursday, December 10th as I'm making this video, and it will likely explode out of the gate right off the start because I can see a lot of demand from investors becoming really excited about this stock to be invested in a very fast growing business, even during the pandemic pressures, because, well, millennials know that the value of the company is going to explode because of the business model and the network effect that Airbnb has. And by the way, something that didn't really surprise me is that Airbnb increased the price range for its initial public offering this week to $56 to $60 per share, according to the Securities and Exchange Commission filing released on Monday the 7th. It previously planned to sell shares for $44 to $50 per share, roughly, and that means that the new range represents a 27% increase at the bottom end of things and a 20% increase at the top end of things. And they're going to be selling 50 million shares. And guys, what I think is going to happen right off the gate, as it does with most IPOs this year, is that they're probably going to rise. It's not hard for me to say that because we have seen it happen over and over again with so many different IPOs and companies, including a majority of over 80 SPACs that went public in 2020. Now, in my opinion, the raise in price isn't the best thing for investors because you have to purchase a stock at a more expensive price. But I will say that I do believe it is justified. From one side of the coin, it's the end of the year, and I think people are interested in getting invested before 2021 and the January effect takes place. By the way, if you don't know the January effect, that's basically the effect where in January, the stock market tends to rise a whole lot, and it's an anomaly because no one knows why that happens. But I already said it, in January, stocks tend to go up. But I will say that the other side of things is that the private market had Airbnb a bit lower this year, so I'm slightly concerned, but I don't think that the increase in their price for their IPO is going to be a really big issue 6 to 12 to 18 months out, because if the company is growing their revenues and the pandemic kind of declines a little bit and people start traveling again, this is going to be an explosive stock. And even if the pandemic doesn't really decrease, well, I still think people are renting out on Airbnb because some people live in Airbnb full time. Check this guy out, he lives in Airbnb full time. Now guys, we had to discuss something that makes me feel very comfortable about Airbnb stock. And the reason I feel comfortable is that DoorDash is also increasing its valuation and IPOing very soon. Check out what Yahoo Finance have to say about these two stocks.
That's right, Miles. Taking a look here, Airbnb and DoorDash both heading towards massive IPOs later this week in two of the largest offerings we'll get in 2020. Now, it's looking like demand for these share offerings is high, especially with Airbnb. We just saw in a filing this morning that Airbnb increased the price range for its IPO. That new range is between $56 and $60 per share, up from the $44 and $50 per share that Airbnb had disclosed in a filing earlier this month.
That was pretty interesting. I don't usually look at media too much, but I do think that DoorDash and Airbnb coming high does offer Airbnb some safety, because take a look at Airbnb revenue in 2019. It was $4.7 billion. Now take a look at DoorDash revenue in 2019. Dude, guys, it's $1.9 billion. It's not even half of Airbnb. So please tell me, how does Airbnb and DoorDash have a similar valuation? That makes no sense at all. So at least relatively speaking, Airbnb is cheap in relation to DoorDash's IPO, but we shall see what happens when they both go IPO. Them coming in at larger than expected valuations does kind of hinder the investment returns of new investors. However, I don't think this makes Airbnb less attractive, but as a millennial, I'll be purchasing some shares when they IPO, at least with a small percentage of my portfolio, because I love this stock and I truly believe in it. Let me know your guys' thoughts below. What IPO did you guys buy that went really well? Is Airbnb interesting to you? And how much shares are you gonna be buying on the IPO date? Spasiba for watching. Smash the like button for your boy Henry. And I'm becoming more active on Patreon than I was before by posting market research and more frequent updates on stocks that I'm following. Either way, I hope you like this video. Let's make some money and get stupid rich. See you guys back here very soon. Be aggressive in learning, but be safe investing. I love you guys. Give me those fist bumps.
No one ever see